So I've just come back from Ireland, and you know what it's like when you're on a tour. You sort of get chatting to people and you know, other bikers and stuff. So a couple of people asked me about this, which is the tablet that I'm using for navigation, and they were just sort of curious about you know, why I was using it, what it was, you know, how it was set up, that kind of thing. So I just thought I'd make a quick video really about the tablet, and I guess why I've switched from what I was using before to this. You know, what device I'm using, you know, how's it set up, what did it cost, that kind of thing, and then a little bit about you know, how I actually use it. So for the last 5 years I've been using the TomTom Rider 550, so a kind of bespoke Sat Nav, and you know, that's worked pretty well. I use it with the My Route application for route planning, and then you can save stuff directly into TomTom My Drive, the sort of app that supports the device, and actually that's worked pretty well. But so why am I changing? Well, I mean, mostly because I fancy a change, but I guess the two things, I'm feeling a bit tired of being kind of stuck in one kind of navigational environment. You know, and I just fancy a change, and particularly now with all the different apps you can get. You know, I feel like you know, some of those are better for off-road, some are better on-road, some are better for A to B. So I feel like you know, being free to pick the right tool for the job, I think is really appealing. So I just fancy something different. I guess the other thing as well is, although I think the TomTom's a good device, it is quite limited in terms of its ability to, you know, for you to actually plot a route by the roadside. You know, if you decide you want to do something other than your planned route, I mean, it's okay for kind of A to B, you know, and it's got a pretty cool algorithm, a sort of you know, motorbike specific algorithm, Planet Thrill it's called. And that works pretty well, but it's strictly A to B really. If you want to do anything more complicated, you just can't really do that on the device. So I fancy something a bit more versatile. And I guess the main reason, though, to be honest, is I just fancy a change and any excuse to get another gadget, basically. Hence the tablet. So I did think about other options. So you know, why don't I use my phone like everybody else? Well, of course I do. But the two things about the phone that I'm not keen on. One is you know, having it on your handlebars all the time. I mean, last week I was in, you know, a few days of really torrential rain. Not sure I really want to have my phone on the handlebars all the way through that. Now you can get these kind of CarPlay screens, which look pretty good as well, and they're pretty good value, and you know, that's a good compromise. You can kind of keep your phone safely tucked away, but you know, you still get all that functionality and the big display. So I think that's a pretty good compromise. But the second reason why I didn't really want to use my phone is you know, when you're on a long tour, it just feels like all your eggs would be on one basket. You know, if you lost your phone or got stolen or broken, then not only have you lost you know, your primary means of communication, but also you know, your ability to navigate. So you know, that's a real problem, it seems to me. So so really the choice of the tablet is really about resilience. It's about not having you know, being over reliant on a single device, i.e. your phone. So you know, I thought a tablet would be a good way forward. So and you've probably seen things like the Carpe Iter and the Thork Racing DMD setup. Now they're absolutely they look fantastic. You know, super tough, super resilient, really bright screen. You know, if you're in the Baja Rally and the Mexican sun beating down, you know, you still be able to see, you know, roadbook style, you know, every step of the way. But there is an obvious drawback with those systems, which, you know, although they're brilliant, I mean, they are really expensive. And I guess if you need that level of specification, you know, if you are like rallying or something, then fair enough. But for most of us, if you're riding on the road or even off-road, but obviously at a more modest pace, then you know, you don't really need that level of specification, and consequently I don't think you need to spend that much money. So I sort of set myself the challenge of, could I have, you know, some of that functionality that you get off those premium tablet systems, but for a lot less cost. And so this is my answer. So so this device is it's a Samsung Galaxy Active Tab 3. So it's a basic Android 8-inch tablet. I think they use them for maybe commercial and industrial uses, really. So they're shockproof, waterproof, dustproof, all of that sort of stuff. But they're also really cheap. So I mean, I got this pre-owned on a CEX. I think you can, you know, you can get them on back markets, eBay, all of that kind of stuff. But it was, you know, when I say pre-owned, I mean it came in a box wrapped in cellophane. It had never been opened, so you know, it was absolutely tip-top. So the cost of it was £150, which, you know, I think is pretty decent. And you know, I've seen them for cheaper than that. So you know, have a look round. But you know, you'd definitely be able to get one for 150 quid or less, I would have thought. So yeah, no, so it's, you know, pretty good value. The only thing I would say about it though is just to manage your expectations, is I'm comparing it with things like the Carpe Iter, but you know, in terms of screen brightness, it's just not in the same league. So I mean, you know, I've been using this for 6 months, and I think the screen is sufficiently bright. And you know, for road riding and normal navigation, I've obviously got, you know, audio cues in my helmet. You know, in terms of brightness, I would say it's somewhat less bright than my TFT, but it is sufficiently bright. You know, in the 6 months I've used it, I've not had a problem or felt you know, that's been a particular issue. But I guess, you know, it's like everything. There are compromises on there. So would I spend another 700 quid or something to get a Carpe Iter with a super bright screen? No, is the honest answer. So yeah, I mean, you know, as I say, there are trade-offs with everything, but you know, in a real world application, I found this setup works pretty well. So that's the device. I'm going to pull over in a minute and just show you a little bit about how it's attached to the bike, and you know, how it charges and all that sort of stuff. So just bear with me. I'll find a spot to pull over. What you've got is, so this is it's the Galaxy Active Tab 3, and basically it's connected to the bike with, I mean, this is all RAM stuff basically. So I'll show you what I'll get off and show you what I've got. So yeah, so this is the device. I mean, basically it's connected to the bike with RAM stuff. So, but first of all, this kind of protective case is called the sleeve, and basically that costs about 18 or 19 pound from RAM, and I don't know if you can see, but it's bespoke to this tablet. One of the good things about the tablet is it's got a stylus. So you know, if you don't want to take your gloves off, or you want to do something, you know, a bit fiddly, you've got a little pen. And the skin is bespoke to this tablet, so there's a little slot for the pen. So that's the skin, and you need that to work with the holder, because it kind of makes it like a really snug fit. So then you've got the holder itself. So this is sort of spring loaded, and it's you know, it's a real one-hand job, so it works really well. Totally rock solid. You know, doesn't move around, doesn't vibrate, it's not going anywhere. And basically you get this sort of spring loaded part. But you also get this bit, which is the it's a sort of it's the part that's specific to your tablet. So I mentioned the stylus, but the holder's also got a little slot so you can get the pen out. So yeah, so that works really well. So the holder is I think it's about 35 quid. So you know, it's not massively expensive. So you know, the tablet 150, say. The skin 20 quid, and the holder 35. So it's, you know, it's about 205 quid for the physical setup. So I don't know if you can see, but in terms of how I've got it attached to the bike, so I've got a ball, a ram ball replacing one of the bolts into the handlebar clamp, a little bit of a ram extension, and then there's a ram ball on the back of the holder. I actually had all these bits because that's how my TomTom was held onto the bike. So I'm cheating a bit, but I mean to buy those little bits are probably another 30 quid or something. So, you know, you're talking about you know, 200 and I know something like 250 quid for the whole thing. Other things to say. So in here I've also got a micro SD card. So this is 64 gigabytes of memory, and I do like to download maps. You know, if I'm in another country, I'll download the maps for that country, so I'm not reliant on the internet. You know, in like Google Maps and Calimoto. Now, actually, the memory on the device is sufficient, so I'm not really using the micro SD card, but it's in there anyway in case I need more memory. The other thing I've got in here is a prepaid SIM card, so it connects to the internet independently of my phone, which is back to that point I was making earlier about resilience. So basically, I can get onto the internet on the tablet. I can do basically anything I can do on my phone. So not only is it independence of the phone, if I did lose my phone, I mean, pretty much anything I can do on my phone, I can do on the tablet. So, you know, it does give you resilience and peace of mind. So yeah, so it's a couple of extras. So in terms of charging, I just use this. I've got a little socket in, you know, just on the dash there. And basically I just charge it by just plugging it in. Now this was always going to be like a kind of temporary arrangement. I was going to wire it to the battery in some way properly, but I've been using it for 6 months and I've never felt motivated to do that because, you know, this setup I think actually works really well. You know, I mentioned being in heavy rain last week. The socket's quite recessed into the device, and I think the skin and stuff helps. So although I was in heavy rain, I didn't have any issues charging it. You know, there was no water in it or anything like that. So, you know, I'll probably get around to changing this, but at the moment, I think it works pretty well. So I guess the only other thing to say is this holder. RAM do a version that actually uses the pogo pins on the outside of the tablet to charge it. So you can get a holder that wires to your battery and charges the device whenever it's in the holder. It's also got a lock. You can get one with a lock with a key or a combination. But this is just the basic simple one, which is all I wanted really. But there are some other options as well that you can choose. So that's the device. Just finally, just kind of how I use it. A couple of things. So you know, firstly, it's an Android device, and you know, if you're an iOS sort of person, Apple, which I am, I've never had an Android device before, but just to say, you know, don't worry, it won't bite. Android works very well, and in fact, I think it does a few things better than iOS. So organising the home screen, which has got all kind of, you know, navigation and, you know, stuff that I use on the bike, is much easier than on iOS. You just put everything where you want it to go, and it's really straightforward. I always think iOS is a bit crazy when all the apps start whizzing around, but the other thing, one trick it has got, which is really cool, is this. So basically it's a split screen thing, so you can create an icon for different kind of split screen arrangements. So, you know, this one is really good. So this is Calimoto, so you've got your navigation on one side and then Spotify on the other, so you know, you can look at your music, playlists and all that sort of stuff, but keep your navigation there. And this is quite a handy one. So this is so again, you've got Calimoto on one side, and then the Insta360 app. So this camera here is an Insta360 camera. So you know, kind of opens up as usual. It's connecting to the phone. Got that. So there you go. So I'll give you a wave. There you go. Hello. So basically, you can control your cameras from a split screen while you've still got your navigation going as well. And I've actually got an Insta360 360 degree camera, which is usually somewhere on the bike where I can't reach, or you know, I can't see where it is, and it's really handy being able to control it from here. but also so you can, it hasn't fallen off and you haven't lost it or whatever. So that's a bit of a sense of how I use it. Yeah, that's it really. That's my setup. So just to recap, it's a Samsung Galaxy Tab, Active Tab 3. Cost me 150 quid, pre-owned. The RAM holder and the skin is it's another £55, so £205 for the basics. Probably another 30 quid for the bits and bobs from RAM. So kind of all in all, it's you're getting on for like maybe £250, something like that. If you could add on the SIM and the SD card and Kalimoto subscription, etc., to make a really fair comparison. But that gives you the basic idea of the costs. Anyway, so that's it really. So that's why I've started using a tablet I'm using, and just a couple of insights into how I'm actually using it. So that's it really. Hope that was helpful. Yeah, so I'll see you next time.